Jazakumullah khairan for delivering the good words of advice. And just to round off, mashallah, he mentioned some very important points. So he started off by saying that it's a double-edged sword. So just like a knife, you can use a knife for good to cook vegetables, to cook food and feed others, or you could use a knife to kill someone or murder someone. So this is like social media. So remember, in many things in life, there's benefits and there's harms as well. But when it comes to us finding out the benefits or the harms, we have to look in light of the Quran and Hadith. What does Allah and the Prophet ﷺ say? And Allah mentions in the Quran, الْيَوْمَ أَكْمَلْتُ لَكُمْ دِينَكُمْ وَأَتْمَمْتُ عَلَيْكُمْ نِعْمَتِي وَرَضِيتُ لَكُمُ الْإِسْلَامَ دِينًا. That this religion, Islam, is a complete holistic religion. So if you want to find anything out, you'll find it in Quran and Hadith. And obviously you won't find a Quranic verse or a narration in Hadith saying that social media is beneficial, social media is harmful. But there's principles laid out in Sharia, and the scholars in light of those principles have given and deduced rulings. So social media is not harmful in itself if used for good. So it can be used for many beneficial things as well. And then he mentioned the harms of Aqidah. So like he was mentioning, I faced a similar case with a family member where I entered the family member's home and the person was watching the Qadiani channel, and he was taking benefit and he was saying, oh, this is very beneficial, etc., etc. And then I explained to him that these people are not in the fold of Islam, etc. We don't even know what we are watching as well. So we point that out, that it is very harmful, social media, when we don't know our basic beliefs. That is why we need to have a deep connection with the scholars, like he was saying. That one of the solutions of this is have a deep connection with your scholars and stay in good company. Because many of us, we don't have that respect for scholars. We don't have that regard for our scholars. We don't even know our local scholars. We need to go to them, ask them questions, whatever questions we've got, and they will guide us, they will help us. But unfortunately, we don't have that respect for scholars, and the respect for scholars is lost. And what happens then when we don't instill this into our youth, that the scholars, the true scholars of our locality are our true guides? When we don't instill this into our youth, what happens? The youth, they search online and they look for answers online and they get misguided like this. And then he mentioned about the nafs. This nafs, no matter how pious you are, you may be the most pious individual in the world. You may reach the peaks of piety, and you may have read 1,000, 100,000 nawafil in your life. You may perform tahajjud on a daily basis. You may perform awabin, ishraq, all the different prayers, voluntary prayers, etc., including your fara'id. But this nafs, no matter how pious you are, it will deceive you, and it's very deceiving. And likewise, shaitan. So these two enemies are always on your back. And that's why the Prophet ﷺ, he mentions, أَعْدَى عَدُوِّكَ مَا بَيْنَ جَنْبَيْكَ, that one of your biggest enemies is within you and you don't even know. And that enemy is your nafs. So no matter who you are and how pious you are, when you are idle, then shaitan and your nafs plays with you and you want to do things. So when you're using social media, you might think, oh, let me just check this person's updates, or let me just check this scholar's updates, let me just watch this video, etc. But slowly, shaitan plays with you, and then he says, oh, watch this, no one's around you, so watch this as well, watch this, or you can ask for forgiveness tomorrow. So this is your nafs. So understand that no matter how pious you are, your nafs and shaitan are always attacking you, and they're always trying to deceive you and misguide you. So for that, you need to have the company of good people. You need to stay in the company of scholars, stay in the company of good people, pious friends, and have a connection with good pious people and scholars, and always consult them with regards to what you do and what you don't do. And then he mentioned the importance of time, that we waste so much time. Allah the Almighty, He takes an oath on time in the Quran. He mentions wal asr. And when Allah takes an oath on something, it indicates the importance of it. So on social media, on a daily basis, we are wasting so much time. We wake up, first thing we do, check our phone, check this on the internet, check that. Has someone sent me a message? When we're going to sleep, first thing we do before going to sleep, or last thing shall I say, is we check our phone. And we're wasting countless time. And this occupies our mind to such an extent. The World Wide Web. Why is it called the World Wide Web, the internet? Because it's like a web. A spider, it makes a web. Why? So that it can trap insects, etc., to feed itself, so for food purposes. So likewise, this internet is like a web. So when you go on it, it traps you. So you might not understand that, oh, it's going to trap me, or is it not going to trap me? You don't know this. But you're occupying yourself, and it's made such that you just spend countless hours without even knowing that your time has gone. And unfortunately, many of us, we are just so obsessed with other people's lives, all these celebrities' lives that don't even give two hoots about us. They don't even care about us, do they? You tell me, when you pass away, is that celebrity going to come and ask forgiveness for you? Or is the celebrity giving you a cut in his wage or her wage? No. So why are you obsessed with their lives? Be obsessed with the lives of the pious people. The best individual to follow, the most inspirational individual for us is the Prophet ﷺ. Not a single image of his exists in this day and age, but every little detail of his is recorded in books, and everything has been mentioned regarding him. So know who you should be looking up to scholars, pious people, pious individuals, not these people that don't even care about you. And then he mentioned about cyberbullying, etc., and that's a very big issue in our society, and it's increasing. And then depression and anxiety. Many of us will post things on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat. No one's watching it, no one's liking it, no one's commenting a good comment on it. So what happens, especially when the youngsters are on this, they think, oh, no one's liking my post, no one's commenting on it, no one's giving me the love heart. And what happens is, the youngster, it affects his brain, it affects his mind. And from a young age, a youngster, he's like a sponge. So whatever you feed him with, he'll take it or she'll take it. So if you're feeding him with negativity, you're exposing him to the social media, and you're letting him carry on, this is to the parents and the elders, then know that you're affecting him mentally and psychologically. That is why there is a rise in depression rates amongst youngsters, and it's of unprecedented proportions in this day and age. There's so many suicides going on, many of us don't even know about. And lastly, what he was mentioning about, many people are leaving the fold of Islam, youngsters, because obviously they're not being guided to the right path. They don't know who to go to, they don't know who to consult. So when they are exposed to this World Wide Web, they just read and watch anything and everything, and because of that they start having doubts, and this affects them mentally. And obviously you mentioned about the breaking of marriages, the amount of marriages that are breaking because a wife, she'll be on Facebook or Twitter or whatever, on social media, and she'll be watching other people's posts, and you have the option of friends, you may know, and you can add them, etc., to your list. So then the husband, he starts having doubts that why is my wife watching other people's things, and vice versa as well, and that has an effect, a deep effect on the marriage. And then he mentioned about the sexual predators that are out there, that are ready to jump on our youngsters, the pedophiles, etc. So this is a very grave issue. And then he mentioned about the solutions. So what are the solutions to the harms of social media? So the first thing is taqwa. You need to inculcate and build in yourself God consciousness at all times. That's why the Prophet ﷺ mentions, ittaqillah haythuma kunt. Fear Allah wherever you are. Fear Allah wherever you are. Even though you may be the most pious person in the world, but remember, you still have to keep this in mind, that you have to fear Allah. So inculcate taqwa in yourself. Stay in good company, that's another thing. Stay with pious people. And one thing is, before going onto social media, and as a Muslim, before doing anything, you're supposed to say Bismillah, because you're starting with the name of Allah, and there's blessings in that. So you have that thing in mind that Allah is watching me. What I'm doing now is through the blessings of Allah. Allah has granted you the eyes to look. If you never had these eyes, you wouldn't even be able to watch or read whatever's on social media. And all these benefits are from Allah, and you're disobeying the very same individual, very same being that has blessed you with these blessings. So keep this in mind. And after you've used it, he mentioned, say astaghfirullah. And now just conclude with a few points that are very important. Many of us will post things on social media, etc., but we don't understand that in Islam there's the concept of the evil eye. The Prophet ﷺ, he mentions al-aynu haqqun, that there is a reality to the eye and the evil eye, etc. It's truth, it's something that happens. So you're posting on a daily basis, or I've got this car, I bought this car today, or this is my son, I just had a newborn baby, this is how he looks like, or how she looks like, etc. But what happened? Someone else is looking, and he casts the evil eye to the photo, and that's harmful for yourself. And the evil eye can lead you to your grave as well, it can kill you. That's how detrimental this is. So don't think this as something minor. If you want to post things, I'm not saying don't post within your circles, within the close people that are not going to show jealousy for you. Jealousy is something that's true, and there's reality behind it as well. So you're posting it to the whole world, and people will be out there jealous of you. Oh, why has he got this many cars? Why has he got this many assets or this many houses? Why has he got the latest clothes, etc.? So people there that are jealous about you, and if ever the thought of jealousy comes in your mind, remember the Prophet, peace and blessings of Allah, mentions that jealousy, it eats away our good deeds just like fire eats away wood. Yeah? Just like fire eats away dry wood, that's how jealousy eats away our good deeds. So being jealous regarding someone is not something that is good. It's something that's really bad and eats away our good deeds, and we're wasting our deeds. So obviously we don't need to do this. Many of us will post things, and there's an issue of ego and pride. The Prophet, peace and blessings of Allah, mentions that if a person has an iota of pride in him, then in the hereafter he will not be able to enter paradise. So when you're posting things, you think, oh, I'm everything, oh, I'm proud, I've got everything, I've got the latest cars, I've got the latest house, latest fashion clothes, etc. But this pride is destroying you. It's barring you from entering Jannah and paradise. So never think that you are everything. Remember, the Prophet, peace and blessings of Allah, mentions, "Man tawada'a lillah rafa'ahu Allah," that whoever shows humbleness and humility, then Allah elevates his rank. So don't have this sense of pride. And this is what happens when we're posting things, that this sense of pride is built into us, that we want to show the whole world that I am something, and I've got things as well to show. And one thing that's very common, a sign of the Day of Judgment, the Prophet prophesies this, that before the Day of Judgment, fornication will be very common. Fornication will be common. Zina, this is what we call zina. And one of the forms of zina is zina of the eyes. So when you are watching all these different things on social media, you'll always come across a female if you're a male, and you're doing zina of the eyes. So some people think, oh, my intention is that I'm not looking at her, a female, with bad intention, a non-mahram female, I'm not looking at her with a bad intention, so it's fine, I can look at her and I'll just swipe away, etc. But what happens is, the thoughts stay with you, or her image will stay with you, and later on, Shaitan will bring back the image of that female that you saw, the non-mahram female, marriageable female, and you will start thinking about her in a bad way. This is how Shaitan and your nafs works. So don't think that, oh, this is a minor issue. And obviously people are committing much worse sins, and it leads to pornography. Pornography is a very serious issue in our society. And it's not just youth that are watching all this, it's also elderly people that are going through this. And you'll see many people whose marriages are broken because of this as well. People bring these issues to us, and the wife will say that, oh, my husband left the phone in his room, so I checked it and I checked the history, and I found out that he's watching all these dirty videos, etc. So this is destroying us, it's destroying our lives, it's destroying our iman, and it's just destroying the whole society. So we need to understand the deeper issues that underlie this social media. Now obviously there's the benefits that are there. Benefits are such as we could pass on good information, Islamic information. We could remind others on Monday and Thursday it's mustahab to fast, or recite Surah Al-Kahf, or act upon the sunnahs of Yawm al-Jum'ah, or act upon the sunnahs of the Prophet ﷺ. So there's good as well. But remember, one harm in this, when many people, they pass information, Islamic information, whether it's from Quran or Hadith, they do not validate the references. So someone will pass you something and say, good information, you think it's good, Islamic advice, the Prophet mentioned this, and there's no reference there, or there's a reference but you've not checked with the scholar. And remember, if it's something that's not been mentioned by the Prophet ﷺ and you pass it on, then this is a very big sin, because the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, mentions that whoever attributes to me something that I have not mentioned or something that I have not said, then he should make his abode in hellfire. He should make his abode in hellfire. So remember, when you're passing on information, always authenticate it, validate it through a scholar before you pass it on. Don't think, oh, this is just good information. And then there's this other issue in our society, is that people are passing on these messages where if you pass this on to 10 people or 15, 20 people, then you will get blessing in life and all this. This is all nonsense and it's got no basis in Islam. So, don't act upon all these things. So if you have a doubt, always authenticate and validate with a scholar. Don't just pass on anything and everything that you think is good. And pray Allah the Almighty give us all the ability to understand the harms of social media and also the benefits. I pray Allah the Almighty give us all the ability to act upon everything that has been said. Just like to thank all the audience for sitting and listening. Subhanallah wa bihamdihi, subhanakallahumma wa bihamdik, wa nashhadu an la ilaha illa anta astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk.